it. And let's start with the biggest story of the day, and that is the news that DeWanna Bonner is no longer with the Indiana Fever. It was reported last night that DeWanna Bonner had no intentions on returning to the Indiana Fever, and then the news broke today that the Indiana Fever had indeed waived DeWanna Bonner.
But I did hear that DeWanna Bonner was not exactly thrilled with the situation, and it may have been more basketball related than anything else, which appears to be confirmed by this news. And it's just a bummer. Let's call it a DeWanna Bonner bummer, because she didn't live up to the expectations for the team. Obviously, the situation didn't live up to her expectations. It creates more of a mess for the players who are still there. The coach who she coached before now has to deal with it. The franchise is left holding the salary cap space that Bonner eats up. And, you know, they have to adjust on the fly because the roster now needs to be improved.
Imagine bringing in a veteran star, a two-time WNBA champion, to elevate your young team, only for it to detonate into a public spectacle of ego, alleged sabotage, and a toxic relationship that threatened to derail everything. This isn't just sports drama, it's a cautionary tale unfolding right now in the WNBA as the Indiana Fever officially severed ties with DeWanna Bonner after barely 3 months. This isn't a simple roster move, folks. This is a story of clashing titans, a veteran refusing to yield the spotlight, and a team finally finding its stride only after a painful, yet necessary, subtraction. Let's rewind. DeWanna Bonner's signing with the Indiana Fever was supposed to be a marquee moment. A seasoned leader, a walking basketball IQ, brought in to guide a young, talented squad, specifically one built around the transcendent phenomenon that is Caitlin Clark. The expectation was clear. Bonner would provide the veteran presence, the championship pedigree that this exciting but raw team needed to ascend. She was supposed to be the steady hand, the wise mentor. The writing on the wall, however, began to appear almost immediately, subtly at first, then starkly for all to see. What started as Indiana's dream free agent signing quickly devolved into a nightmare. Bonner was a starter for just 3 games before coach Stephanie White made a pivotal decision: replace her with Lexi Hall in the starting lineup. Now, for any athlete, a demotion stings. But for a 37-year-old, two-time champion, it was clearly a bridge too far. Whispers soon turned into a chorus. Bonner was not happy. She apparently couldn't stomach playing second fiddle to the league's brightest new star, especially when that star was Caitlin Clark, the magnetic force changing the face of the league. What followed was a pattern of behavior that can only be described as a smokescreen. Bonner began missing games, officially for personal reasons. The team was quiet. Fans speculated, but behind the scenes, a different truth was emerging. Sources close to the situation painted a very different picture. This wasn't about family, emergencies, or health issues. This was about a player who had no interest in returning to play for the Fever after her role was diminished. The personal reasons were, in essence, a cover-up for a trade request, a desperate attempt to orchestrate an exit from a situation she clearly no longer wanted to be a part of. The numbers certainly didn't help Bonner's case. After averaging double-digit scoring in each of her previous 15 WNBA seasons, her output with the Fever was dismal, a mere 7.1 points and 3.8 rebounds per game, shooting a career-low 34.5% from the field. Her playing time, just 21.3 minutes per game, was the lowest since her rookie season in 2009. Lexi Hall, the young blonde girl from next door who took her spot, was a sniper from 3, hustled, and undeniably earned her minutes. The statistical decline only amplified the perception of a veteran struggling to adapt, unwilling to embrace a reduced, yet still valuable, supporting role. But the real controversy wasn't just about statistics or playing time, it was about attitude. Multiple sources indicated Bonner's preferred trade destinations were the Phoenix Mercury or the Atlanta Dream. The fact that she would specifically target Atlanta, a team featuring Brittany Griner, raised serious questions about the toxic environment. Certain veteran players seemed determined to create around Caitlin Clark. Griner notoriously has established herself as one of the most controversial figures in women's basketball, particularly in her interactions with Clark, marked by unnecessary contact and what experts have characterized as targeting behavior. The thought of Bonner, clearly disgruntled with her role alongside Clark, potentially joining forces with Griner in Atlanta, sent shivers down the spine of many within the league and the fan base. This isn't just about the players. It's about a dangerous concentration of negative energy. The WNBA has been struggling to manage the controversies surrounding its biggest star and the prospect of two veteran players with documented issues regarding Clark coming together on the same roster represents a concerning development. Clark, meanwhile, has handled it all with remarkable poise, reiterating that she plays for the fun of it, for the dream she's always had. You can only hope she maintains that energy despite the distractions and the clear efforts by some to create a hostile environment around her. Then, a glimmer of hope, a stark contrast. The timing of Bonner's departure couldn't be more telling. Despite early season struggles, the Fever had begun to find their rhythm, particularly after Clark's return from injury. Their 94-86 victory over the Seattle Storm on June 24th, notably, played without Bonner, showcased exactly what the Fever could accomplish when freed from the toxic dynamics that had been plaguing the locker room. Clark, despite scoring only 6 points, was a maestro, dishing out 9 assists and grabbing 3 steals, her leadership and playmaking abilities on full display. More importantly, her teammates thrived. Aliyah Boston recorded a career-high 31 points, Kelsey Mitchell added 26, and Lexi Hall contributed 15. The contrast was undeniable. Without Bonner's disruptive influence, the Fever looked like a completely different team, more cohesive, more focused, more capable. The toxic cloud that had been hanging over the franchise finally lifted, allowing the young core to play with a freedom and confidence that had been missing for weeks. Even coach Stephanie White, often guarded in her public statements, subtly hinted at the truth when asked about Bonner. I've had a lot of conversations recently really focused on the group that we have right here ... who's going to be in the trenches with me because the one kind of quit ... I don't know if there's a better word for it. She kind of quit. Bonner's public statement following her waiver was carefully crafted, a diplomatic dance around the truth. Despite our shared goals and excitement heading into the season, I felt the fit did not work out, she said, attempting to paint the situation as a mutual misunderstanding. But the reality was much simpler. She couldn't accept that Caitlin Clark was the face of the franchise, the player around whom the entire organization would be built. Rather than embracing her role as a veteran mentor and contributor, Bonner wanted to be the queen, the primary option, the player receiving the lion's share of attention. Her inability to embrace a mentorship role speaks volumes about her character and priorities. And while Bonner exited, Clark's rise continued unabated. She leads early fan voting for the All-Star Game with over 500,000 votes, demonstrating an unprecedented connection with basketball fans. Her impact extends far beyond individual statistics. Clark has transformed the Fever from a bottom-dwelling franchise into a legitimate playoff contender, driving significantly higher television ratings and attendance figures wherever she plays. This is the generational talent Bonner couldn't bring herself to support. Instead of recognizing the immense opportunity of playing alongside such a unique player, Bonner chose to see Clark as a threat to her own legacy and playing time. The transformation of the Fever without Bonner has been truly remarkable to witness. Team chemistry has improved dramatically, with players no longer walking on eggshells around a disgruntled veteran. Coach White is free to build the team around Clark's transcendent abilities without managing personality clashes. Young players like Aliyah Boston and Lexi Hall are developing their games without the constant drama. The decision to immediately re-sign Ari McDonald after waiving Bonner sends a clear message about the type of culture the Fever are trying to build. McDonald, a player willing to embrace her role and contribute wherever needed, stands in stark contrast to everything Bonner represented. Looking ahead, the prospect of Bonner joining Griner in Atlanta creates a potentially toxic combination that could spell trouble for the WNBA's overall growth. The league simply cannot afford to allow veteran players to create a hostile environment around Clark, especially given her unprecedented impact on the league's popularity and commercial success. The fact that several teams have been advised not to claim Bonner off waivers, specifically because of her stated preference for Phoenix or Atlanta, demonstrates the level of concern throughout the league about her behavior and the potential disruption she could cause to team chemistry. Even teams with personal connections to Bonner are hesitant to take on the baggage. The Fever's handling of the Bonner situation, cutting ties despite her accomplished veteran status, sends a powerful message they have chosen to build around character, chemistry, and commitment, rather than simply accumulating talent regardless of fit or attitude. This decision has already paid dividends in terms of team performance and culture, with the Fever looking like a completely different organization without the toxic influence of a player who had made her dissatisfaction known throughout the locker room. As the WNBA navigates this period of unprecedented growth and attention, the league must send a clear message that professional behavior and team-first attitudes will be rewarded, while selfishness and toxic behavior will not be tolerated. This wasn't just a roster move. It was a declaration. The Fever chose character, chemistry, and commitment over a disgruntled star. And in doing so, they might have just written the blueprint for how a league navigates its biggest stars and the big egos that sometimes come with them. What do you think about DeWanna Bonner's exit and the Fever's new direction? Was it a necessary evil, or did she get a raw deal? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive intriguing, don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold stories from the world of sports and celebrity.